I am very, very pleased to introduce our speaker for today, Cindy Ericksen. Cindy has been a member of this fellowship for over 20 years, and during this time she has held a number of leadership positions, including board president, chair of the Strategic Planning Task Force, and various committees. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist in private practice. She has 3 adult children and 3 grandchildren, and we're delighted to welcome her today. Welcome, Cindy.
Well, I just wanted to say it is a great day to be a UU. I tell you what, to have all those people standing up here joining us, just what a warm feeling. It makes me feel so good. And you know, in this time, like-minded people, we need to be together. And so welcome and be with us. And we are so glad that we can all be together. And having the choir back, oh my gosh, I love the choir. So thank you for those brave souls that came up for the first time. Just a few of you, and I know there'll be more over time. And oh, it's just something really to look forward, and it brings such joy to me, and I know so many of you, to have the choir singing again. It's just really a joyful thing. So, spring equinox. 4 years and 54 days ago, Amanda Gorman stood on the steps of the Capitol at Joe Biden's inauguration and recited an amazing and profound poem. Can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay. She has stated that much of the poem was written on the evening of January 6th. The last lines of the poem are, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. I remember that day being so filled with hope and optimism, just 4 years and 54 days ago. 4 years and 54 days later, we see how truly prophetic those lines were for the current moment, which is truly unprecedented in the history of our country. When I began working on this talk, I knew it needed to be in the context of these difficult times, to speak the truth of what is, and also to offer hope of what can be. Because amidst all this chaos and darkness, we as UUs need to be co-creating what happens next. And I believe we can do this best if it is grounded in our spiritual beliefs and who we are as Unitarian Universalists. So when I was starting writing, I asked myself, what is the spiritual meaning of the spring equinox for Unitarian Universalists? And what is it for us specifically in these unprecedented times when there is so much darkness and chaos? I realize that we as UUs are in a unique position to provide both hope and action as we live out our 7 principles. But first, I'm going to offer you some thoughts about equinox, and then we'll get back to the principles. The spring equinox marks the point when the hours of day and night are equal. Thus, it creates a time of balance between light and dark, both in the physical as well as the spiritual realm. It is also the turning point when daylight begins to take over the darkness, as the North Pole begins to lean towards the sun again. It is also a time of year when we begin to experience more creative energy and life force. Spiritually, it offers an opportunity to take time to release our fears and create new intentions for ourselves. It also represents rebirth, fertility, and renewal of life, all hopeful symbols encouraging us to be reborn. Regardless of what is going on for us individually or collectively, spring returns each year as a perpetual promise of renewal. For me, that promise of renewal is the most important spiritual significance of the spring equinox, the promise that out of darkness there is always light. In this time when there is so much darkness in the world, let us rejoice in the light that spring brings us. Let the anticipation of sprouting flowers and budding trees be symbols of our hope. And let the coming of the long days of light and warmer weather also bring us confidence that something better is to come. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. I love spring in Wisconsin. I wait with giddy anticipation for perennials in my garden to begin sprouting, and I quietly celebrate each bud as it appears. And they're already there. I look forward to planting seeds for my pots and the lacy green of the trees as they begin to bud. For me, like many of us, spring is filled with hope and the excitement of newness. As with many seasonal and holiday celebrations, the spring equinox is a time to reflect on our lives both individually and as part of the world community. As we reflect, it is a time to reset, find meaning in the challenges we are facing, and have the opportunity to recharge for what is to come. It is time to sow seeds of change, both literally and figuratively. Some seeds will sprout quickly, while others need time to rest in the darkness of the earth as they prepare to emerge. While we are considering ways to sow seeds of change, let us remember that in this time of so much darkness in the world, you are carrying the light. Our commitment in both words and deeds to our 7 principles guide us in being that light. The significance of this is even greater now as we realize that all 7 of the UU principles we hold so dear are being challenged by the current political environment. Interesting, huh? All 7. To make this abundantly clear, I'm going to read all 7 without comment to give you a chance to reflect on the ways you see these principles are being challenged in our environment currently, in the political environment. I am confident that it will be obvious to you the ways these are being challenged. So number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Number 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Number 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Number 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Number 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. Number 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Number 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. All 7. All 7. No wonder it's feeling so dark and heavy right now. It is a difficult thing to have our most cherished values and beliefs stomped on by those who claim religious, political, and moral authority. In order to face this challenge, we need to stand with each other and in solidarity with our neighbors and friends who do not live with the safety and privilege that we all enjoy. Through love, care, and acting together, we can stand in alignment with our 7 principles in the many spaces in which we live, work, and play. And collectively, we can find the courage to act even when it feels uncomfortable or we are afraid. Because there is no doubt that for some time to come, we are going to be uncomfortable and at times afraid. This is not a sprint, it is a marathon. We need to commit to ongoing resistance and action. Let us find courage and strength to lean in and be the light that begins to take over the dark together as you use. At a time which may turn out to be the darkest time in the history of our country. In order to be able to sustain resistance, we need to also focus on renewal and balance, and to find joy and happiness in each day. For if we do not find joy, we allow tyranny to triumph. As Timothy Snyder, author of the book on tyranny, tells us, it is really important to be the people who have the monopoly on happiness. He means us. He says this because there is no point to saving the democracy if we don't have fun while we're doing it. He also notes that those currently with the power and the outrageous amounts of money are not having fun, and in fact are continually angry. It's an interesting observation. So returning to my questions, what is the spiritual meaning of the spring equinox for Unitarian Universalists, and specifically for us in these unprecedented times? I would like to suggest that in our observation of the equinox this year, in this overwhelming and confusing time, we turn toward the lesson the equinox offers in the promise of renewal. The promise that out of darkness there is always light. Let us be part of the light that overtakes the dark. For in these difficult times, the thing we need most is hope and light. The belief that things will get better. Let's also take advantage of the renewed energy and creativity that the longer, warmer days bring to resist and take creative action. And let us turn towards community to give us strength, courage, and creativity so we can do the work that needs to be done. Our UU Fellowship offers many opportunities to be in community, and I encourage you to take advantage of these. Some examples include the hiking group, the Saturday movies, the book club, and the meditation group, and many more. They're on the bulletin board. In community, we are strong, resilient, and brave. Right now, we are seeing examples of grassroots action springing up everywhere, from the Democratic members of the House singing, "We shall overcome," while Al Green was being sanctioned, to the people asking hard questions at town halls. And just this Friday, several UUs and several others gathered to address postcards to the president, expressing our disappointment in his job performance. This was part of a national event called the Ides of Trump. It was a fun, creative activity which helps us to have a sense of agency. And when the postcards start rolling into the White House, we'll contribute to showing the amount of resistance there is nationwide. It's going to be a lot. I urge you to choose an action that resonates with you and do it with spiritual conviction, because through our spirituality, we find the strength, courage, and stamina to get through these dark times. You may want to connect your action with one of the 7 principles to help you stay focused and committed. And you may also want to do it with others, because we always have more fun and feel braver when we do hard things together. Even taking small action builds hope and resiliency. So if you feel overwhelmed and you think you're too exhausted to take action, I encourage you to take a small action. I promise it will make you feel better and help you feel ready to do something bigger and more difficult. A possible small action might be just being kind to all of the humans you encounter in your day. In the current environment, sadly, kindness is an act of resistance. And so is feeling joy. So look for the small joys in your day. They're everywhere. And so is wearing a t-shirt that says, "The Gulf of Mexico." Find what works for you and do it. All resistance, right? I also encourage you to use this time of renewal to strengthen your personal spiritual practices. This will be different for each of us. Focusing on a spiritual practice builds resilience and hope and gives us strength to carry on. As you use, this might be a bit controversial. You may even think that you don't have a spiritual practice. But a spiritual practice is just something that creates a sense of wonder and awe and connection with the unknown or something larger than yourself. For example, if you find peace and renewal when you hike in the spacious beauty of the Cooley region, this is a spiritual practice for you. If sitting quietly with a hot beverage in the morning settles you into a calm place from which to move through your day, that is a spiritual practice. Some of you may even be offering prayers to the universe as a spiritual practice. If you are, a common prayer in confusing times like this is simply, "May this be resolved for the highest good." Because believing that good will come out of this darkness is a helpful thing, and acknowledging that we have faith it will be resolved is for the highest good even though we are unable to see that path in the current moment, is also helpful. Another spiritual practice might be choosing one of the 7 principles each day or week to focus on. And joining a U group or activity is also a way to support your spiritual practice. Together we are strong. Adding something new to a spiritual practice in difficult times can help us refocus or create a sense of renewal. Here are some possibilities if you want to try this. If your spiritual practice is hiking, you might want to commit to doing it more regularly or to bringing more mindfulness into your hikes. This might be noticing the natural world in more detail or listening to the message the universe offers you as you're on your hike. If your practice is sitting quietly each morning, you may want to get a book of inspiring quotes or passages to ponder while you are sitting. This will give you something positive to focus on as you move through your day. Whatever you decide to do, remember that every kind or helpful act is of benefit to yourself and all those you encounter in your day. If each of us works on doing this each day, it will make a profound difference. And we will truly be the light in the world we are called to be. In concluding, I would like to share a few more lines of Amanda Gorman's poem, which she entitled "The Hill We Climb." We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, and every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new day blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. And so it is up to us. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. In the coming days, months, and years, as you act with your fellow UUs and community members, may you find balance and keep your heart open. So be it, and blessed be.